Everyone. At the time of this recording, we're bumping right into 2022. And I do hope all of you guys are safe and healthy, and hopefully with your family despite all the uncertain world events currently. If 2021 has taught me or you anything, it's probably that all things we believe to be true aren't necessarily so. So personally, I've experienced so much challenges in the recent probably 3 to 4 months. It's been going on the whole year, pretty much since March of this year. But really, this year's events have really shaken up my beliefs. And this starts with my personal beliefs about cause and effect, science and evidence, and all things I believe that I knew with certainty that I really didn't know. And this year has taught me a very hard lesson in that. And really has been the most challenging year for me, both personally, professionally, and physically. I just want to let you know that I've lived through emotional turmoil of being stricken by a severe dose of my autoimmune condition completely out of nowhere. I do have my theories of what happened, but again, for the purpose of this episode, I want to share only what would empower you. So in 2021, at the beginning of the year, it started strong for me with my wellness yoga studio, newly opened after the pandemic. And I was regaining my footing in the business and deciding how to move forward. And I have big plans to make significant progress in all areas of my life, despite all the obstacles and setbacks we experience in our lives. However, I began to experience mysterious and debilitating fatigue, which progressively got worse. And typically when I do get flares, I can usually take it on and nobody will know that I'm going through a flare. But my personal yoga practice became hard and laborious. I missed my son's high school graduation, had to take lots of sick days and rest from work, and was hospitalized with a lupus flare twice this year, once in May and once most recently this month, which puzzled my doctors both at the end of May as well as in December. I really believed I was out of the woods when I was discharged from the hospital both times, but especially in May. But in September, I became so anemic that I needed blood transfusion. I didn't even know that. I was so tired and out of breath. And then shortly after that, I had a full-blown lupus nephritis, which caused acute kidney failure, sending me into the hospital yet again at the beginning of December. I don't know what happened. I was practicing all the things that I preach, and I am so baffled to this day. I still am in recovery phase. But what I experienced this year is something I am still trying to process. The physiology of what happened to me and all the things that I've had to go through into the hospital, that's another separate conversation. So I will be sharing that with you because I learned a lot from this experience. But I just want to let you know, I've tried every holistic, functional medicine, integrative nutrition, and all the healthy stuff, the supplements that I knew can support me. But the autoimmune inflammation was so severe that the doctors explained it as it burned my kidneys out so fast and it was so aggressive to the point of losing my kidney function. And that was scary. I personally have lupus. It's a type of an autoimmune condition, lupus, called the wolf, because it eats up anything and it doesn't stop until it does. And for me, it was my kidneys, okay? And it has affected my kidneys in the past. But I usually recovered quickly and was able to resume a normal life without losing my functional status. But this time was really different. I struggled to stay productive due to my physical condition. And for as long as I've been living with lupus, which is over 22 years now, I've never really been debilitated to the extent that I've been this year. The fatigue, the exhaustion, physical changes morphologically, from under-functioning kidneys, which makes you gain a ton of weight from the it's the edema, right? Because you're spilling out so protein that the fluid gets trapped in your interstitial tissue. My mental and functional decline got me in a state of deep funk and depression. And I finally understood what it feels like to lose control over every aspect of your life due to an illness. And I didn't know what tomorrow would look like. The worst was that I had no control over my body and health, no matter what I tried. It wasn't until, though, I let go of my expectations, my egotistical ideologies, the shoulds and coulds, and just sat with this painful experience and accepted what was, I found some moments of peace within. It was a very emotional year for me. But the peace within provided me with much needed assurance that all would be just okay no matter what. And I needed to live with that. What I learned about myself was that I always lived for the future to achieve whatever was I was working towards, not really even understanding what my criteria were. And then I had all the scars and the trauma of the past that I was running from. So the present moment was really fleeting at all moments. And I'm constantly the doer and the worrier. But I realized that letting go finally allowed me to learn that worrying is unnecessary. And it's about really putting energy into something that I don't want to happen. So that all the worrying about who I was and who I want to be is completely irrelevant. That the present was more important to me, and each moment was precious with those I wanted to share them with. So I really learned the lesson of what's truly important for me. So for about 2 weeks that I was hospitalized recently, I completely lost function of my body. I couldn't take a shower by myself, couldn't walk by myself. It was really, really a shock for me. I've never been in that state before. And my body was going against my mental will in healing. And I felt like it was being destroyed from within no matter what we did. The fear sprung up within me. And when I realized there was nothing I can do to stop it from burning out my kidneys, the lupus, except for the heavy duty medication that I was tied to in the hospital. But even with the medications, my body failed to respond quickly. I didn't even know. And so we were talking about potentially kidney transplant, potentially dialysis, from high-dose corticosteroids, chemo, blood pressure medications, and doctors tried everything. The inflammation was so bad, my red counts, along with my hemoglobin, hematocrit, platelets began to drop, and it became very unstable. And this is because kidneys are an essential organ which filters all the impurities out of the body. But it's not just the kidneys with me. It was something trying to destroy my kidneys, so we needed to get the inflammation down. When it's attacked by autoimmunity, the first order of intervention is to take the fire out before it burns everything. And my fire within happened to be a very aggressive fire. Even after the first dose of chemo, corticosteroids, and meds, I wasn't getting better. Plus the complications with hematoma from the kidney biopsy, it added the pain and the digestive issues that made me bloat up to where I felt like I was 9 months pregnant. My brain unraveled and became impatient with lack of progress. I felt anxious yet weak and slowly was able to detach from the consequences of this flare, as opposed to thinking about the worst case scenario where I would need, again, kidney dialysis or a transplant. I didn't know what to expect, but I knew I was at the end of the ropes and there was no hope at this time. And when I was discharged from the hospital, I was still sick and inflamed without having really any control over my flare. And the doctors could not tell me any different. They didn't know what to do. My holiday plans were shot with my family and it needed to be canceled. I was supposed to go to California with my boys on a ski trip. And I spent time instead nurturing my body and resting as best I can. So I want to share, here's what I learned from this experience. I'll be sharing more as I go along. Number one, that I don't know what I don't know, and autoimmunity can strike it at any time. And doctors, my experience with many of them in the hospital, as well as the new specialists that I met, as well as the ones that I've been dealing with, they truly don't know how to heal you. They know how to manage the disease. And some of them don't even have enough humility to tell you, to give you hope. They're very, very much into the systemic way of approaching you as just a disease, not as a person. Number three is that when you're sick, nobody can help you. Not your doctor, not your mom, not your kids, not your spouse, nobody. Number four, hospital protocols may cause more harm than good. There's so many medications that were just protocol just in case, like sleep aids, as well as narcotics, pain pills, whatever. It was there for me in case I needed it so that the doctors wouldn't have to be on call constantly. And there was a protocol to give me insulin. Well, insulin is something that you give. It's the most inflammatory hormone. I don't have diabetes. I've never had diabetes. It was my blood glucose. Just for simply having corticosteroids, they wanted to give me insulin on top of that. I refused. Number five, patients should know how to advocate for themselves. This is why I do what I do. Number six is that we need self-empowered healing modalities that we live every day to stay healthy, despite what autoimmunity does to our body. Because we can regain the confidence, we can regain the health. Number seven, I truly learned the hard way that health truly is wealth. Number eight is that your relationship with yourself dictates your prognosis. And number nine, you must have dominion over your mind first to have dominion over your body. Number 10, that your disease is much deeper than your symptoms. That symptoms are just the tip of the iceberg. In full honesty and transparency, I'm still in recovery, and I can tell you that my life trajectory has changed direction. I'm thinking a lot of things. There's a lot of reflective moments, and I had many epiphanies. Right now, I'm still processing what happened, and I'm working on loving myself through this healing process. And I want to remind you that it's so much easier to protect and safeguard your health while you have it versus losing it. To be reminded to work towards the uphill climb of regaining your health is so much harder. Our bodies, you guys, are miraculous. We must nurture, love, and trust it without any attachment or punishment. I experienced just how broken our healthcare system was. I didn't feel safe in the hospital at all, with specialists who weren't communicating with each other, doctors who are contracted to the hospital, with so many travel nurses without any loyalty or commitment to the hospital. I've witnessed the messiness, unkind practitioners, incentive doctors, medical protocols that have power to potentially harm patients. It's not a place where you want to go. So after the discharge too, my GI doctor who checked in on me, office called me to see how I'm doing after the surgery. And they corrected my name, my date of birth. They had everything correct. They thought I had surgery. I didn't have surgery. My nephrologist, his prognostic, telling me into his dogma, letting me know I'll always be limited in my ability to live my full life. And that's just the way it was going to be. And just to spite him, I'm going to live the healthiest life ever and prove him wrong. I just want to let you know the hospitalist doctors, there are protocols in place to avoid being inconvenienced, you guys. I learned that many of the doctors, practitioners, nurses, everybody in the hospital were mechanics and technicians, just told to do what they do, check things off the list. They're irritated and overworked right now. And even when my sons came to visit me after the day 10, they wouldn't let my 14-year-old visit my room, which broke my heart because I didn't see him for 10 days. So let me remind you, it affects everything. Autoimmunity can strike at any time. There is no black and white answers, But what I do know is that the better at communicating with my body and mind, nurturing my soul, and seeking the truth of who I am, holding steady and staying committed to what's truly important to me is the most important. And I just want you to know life is short. It's worth living it to your fullest potential, preferably on your own terms. There's nobody that can help you better than you can when you get sick or in order to get healthy again. You guys do know I have a free training coming up. It's a live training for over 7 days, me teaching you all the things you need to know to regain your health and live life on your terms. These are musts that you need to equip yourself with. So please join me. It's a free training. Sign up link is below, and it's on January 10th through the 15th with a lot of bonus sessions on top of it. I truly believe in integration. I truly believe in my miraculous body to heal. And I want to invite you to join me in this training so that you can gain all the confidence, no matter what you may be going through. Because I've seen and been through, feel like sometimes hell and back, especially this past round. So I hope you're all doing great as we look forward to the new year. I know I'm going to have the best year yet in 2022, and I can't wait to see you. Join me in this training. I'll see you guys all January 10th. Sign up in the link below. And if you haven't done so already, please subscribe to my podcast channel. It's Mind Your Health. You can find it anywhere podcasts are offered. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. Join me. I do a weekly podcast there as well. And again, join me in this live training in the link below, and see you guys then.